What's up, y'all? I'm Tej, and I'm not so collected. I'm more of the crazy and unfiltered one.
And this is another episode of A Crazy Little Thing Called
The podcast that dives headfirst into the craziness of millennial life.
Welcome to the shit show, guys.
Well, hello, and welcome to A Crazy Little Thing Called, the podcast where we dive headfirst, like Natalie froze, into the beautiful, complicated, and sometimes crazy world that is millennial life. I am the lovely Tej, and I have with me
the lovely Natalie, and we have an even special guest. More special.
Yeah, specialer. Mm-hmm. Who goes by the name of whom?
Cass or Cassidy.
Yes, we have the lovely Cassidy here to give us some insights on things. But before that, I know Natalie, I've only met one other time before this, but I've had the privilege and honor to know Cassidy for almost 3 years now. Is the anniversary coming up, in like a week or two?
This month, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we have worked together professionally for almost 3 years, but I will let you kind of introduce yourself, Cass, and kind of let the people know what you do.
Sounds good. What don't I do?
Right.
So as I mentioned, my name is Cass. I am from Houston, not born, unfortunately. I moved here when I was like 4, but I feel like I was born and raised in Houston. My background is primarily in film production and graphic design and media. And so that's kind of brought me into marketing professionally, but I do like to have my creative passions and things on the side, and a big thing that I really love is fashion design. So I just started a fashion and clothing brand that I've been working on. I've gotten really into real estate. I've always loved real estate, so I started kind of like a property rental property company, and then just anything marketing, creative, branding, anything I'm passionate about, I try to pursue. I feel like life is short, so why not? And I've been doing this for a very, very long time. I know TJ has mentioned this before the call, the snake behind me. This is actually my first film award from 5th grade. So
it's
5th grade. What was
fifth grade? Do you
remember the film?
It was an animated film. I can't remember the program we made it in. It was like some kid animation program that we used to use in elementary school. So it's been 16 years now in the media creative industry. 17, sorry, I forgot my age for a second.
He came out the womb.
Oh yeah, you had a birthday.
This is what she was
just ready.
Yes.
Ready. Which is funny because you said that, and I remember one day at work you showing, I think it might have been me and Alexis, your old YouTube channel that you found of you just recording the most random of things with your family. So when do you remember your love for media and all that stuff? Like where do you know where it came from? Is your family in it, or because you're the oldest of all your siblings, so it's not like you got it from your siblings. But where'd it come from?
I think it might have come from winning that festival. So that festival was in 5th grade. And after that, I was just like, I want to be a filmmaker. Because before that, I wanted to be an event planner. And before that, I wanted to be a wedding planner. So it kind of transitioned.
I've never heard a child say, I want to be that.
No.
It's normally like, I want to be a veterinarian or a doctor.
No, what did I see? I saw Bride Wars, and I don't remember how young I was because that had to be pre-5th grade, and I was like, I'm going to be a wedding planner. And I was like, wait a minute, why just do weddings? Why not plan all events? And I was like, you know what? Maybe I need to be planning films. So
okay.
I don't know if that answered the question, but
that it did. I guess the film thingy. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm thinking back to when I was a kid. I don't recall ever being fascinated with film. So that is interesting. And has your family always been accepting of you recording their lives like the Kardashians?
Oh yeah, I have lots of DVDs. I'm the oldest. I used to use my siblings as actors. I'd force them to be in my skits. Each sibling had a different show. I think I called it WeTV at the time was the network, and each sibling had a different TV show on there. Wasn't being posted anywhere because social media wasn't really that big at the time, but I was vlogging for no reason.
Right.
I don't know who I was talking to. but I would go back and I'm
Because
like 11 years old sitting there vlogging like, yep, today I'm going to do this.
My channel.
Yep. Because I was about to say that was the one you did. I think y'all were waiting for your mom to get in the car or something like that you showed. And y'all were like literally, I don't even know if your youngest brother was born. I feel like it was, I only remember 3 of y'all in the video.
He was probably like 1 or 2. Yeah, because I was in Abu Dhabi, so we moved there when he was born.
That is insane. But I just want to give the people a little background of the craziness that is you before we get into the real meat and potatoes. Do you have any questions, Natalie, about Cassidy's early life before we jump in?
I'm curious because you're the oldest of your siblings. How many siblings do you have?
I have 3 younger siblings, and they're all creatives. So my brother, we're all about 2 years apart. So my brother he's getting his master's right now in film production at SCAD. He just finished an internship with Tyler Perry Studios. My sister is getting a digital media degree right now at Spelman, and she is interning with the Atlanta Falcons right now in their production team. And then the youngest is in music production and getting a degree in that right now in New Orleans. So.
They'll be God's favorites.
Yeah, they're welcome. You know, they're complaining about me dragging them into the films, but
and then now here they are.
Because normally it's like 1 or 2 if you have like 4 siblings that are like in that creative field, but then someone's doing like a different route. But for all of you guys to be in that creative like area, that's crazy. And again, God's favorite.
Love that.
Gotta love the Dixon family. Yeah. And what was your degree in, Cass? Did you get yours in film production too?
Yeah, it was called like media journalism and communications with a concentration in film production, if you want to be formal.
Got it. Right. From the good old Howard. We love our HBCUs. Wanted to make sure we plug that one since you threw out Spelman. So let's jump in. Let's jump into the lovely topic for today. As you mentioned before, you have just recently, I think, what was that? 2-3 months ago now?
July.
Launched your business? July. Wow. Okay. So just 2 months ago. Your clothing line, Venom. So kind of give us some background. Like what made you decide to start the brand?
Yes. So Venom, I've known for a long time I've been interested in fashion. I used to be an Avril Lavigne stan, and I would just shop at Hot Topic and put together all these crazy outfits. My mom was scared to go on Hot Topic with me, but I would force her to go in. I used to be scared to go on Hot Topic. I was low-key scared too. I was like, hey, let me just grab this.
That and Spencer's. Remember Spencer's?
Oh yes.
Those were the
those stores are crazy.
Yeah.
That was probably like my earliest memory of fashion, putting together outfits, just photos. I would take photos of people in school, in elementary school, and middle school, and just make like little magazines. And then from college, I went on to start a fashion blog. So that one I was more so looking at fashion of people on campus. And then I started just kind of posting a blog, and it actually ended up like really blowing up on campus. To the point where I was able to pass it down. So a freshman actually took it over, and after I graduated, it was still going on and turned into a magazine as well. And so
that's really
finally,
cool. I was saying,
I'm learning a lot.
Yeah,
like I don't really talk about my fashion background too much, but so it's always been like on my heart to start something within fashion. I always say film, fashion, and music were like my 3 passions. So around the time of the pandemic, I was just thinking of all these business ideas, and I was just trying to claim the Instagram account. So I just got a Venom Instagram account just to have it. And that was like 2020. And so now fast forward 4 years later, finally go back onto the Instagram and create the actual brand. So it started March of 2024. I started really working on what's the logo going to look like? I just started sketching out all different kinds of concepts and ideas. So it's crazy to actually see them physically in existence right now.
Literally.
But yeah, that's pretty much how it all started and went down. I mean, obviously there's lots of, tedious and fun work in between, but
I'm sure.
That's kind of the quick
I'm trying to think, around March. What was the name of that platform that you told me about that I was using for a while to like organize stuff and at the board? Yeah. When I was trying to remember that, Natalie, when I was trying to make that, make fetch happen. I've officially went on the planner now, but I literally knew nothing about the college part of the fashion part. I just thought this was one of those, Cassidy wants to do everything in life, so here's the next thing.
I kind of have an like an F word for music, so it could be like
I
fashion film
know.
something, but I can't think. I
Well,
about like fashion film and
Uh-oh.
like funk, but like
yeah,
funk is not
Flutes.
all like music, but
and funk. That's good. I'm the same way though. I was like thinking that too. I was like, it has to be alliteration. Like it has
something.
to be.
Well, so
That's
I have a
interesting.
question, just kind of like piggying back off of that. What I feel like brands did you admire, as well as like what brands did you kind of, I guess, not replicate, because it's not replicate, but like what inspired
Pull
you
inspiration
for
from.
brand? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Top brand, definitely Nike, and just Nike women's branding. I've been obsessed with. Right before I officially started Venom, I was taking a trip to the Philippines actually, and when I was shopping for swimsuits, I just wanted to wear Nike swimsuits because I just felt like, even though I'm not an athlete, I'll look like an athlete. And so,
There you go.
and so that has like a lot of the inspiration behind Venom. Like I may not be this person, but I want to look like I'm this person. So Nike is a huge influence. I love their lifestyle branding and fashion. And then Off-White is actually another big one for me. I love the idea of like luxury streetwear. So those are like the two brands that I go and look back at a lot while I'm working on Venom.
Cool.
Okay. Good. And so you slightly touched on this before, that I'm sure, like you said, you've had this idea since 2020. And then now having it come into fruition now 4 years later, I think there's that misconception for people that it's like, I don't want to say overnight success, but like there's not, like you literally say, oh, I want to do this. And then you draw a shirt, go to like the print press, and boom, there it is. So can you talk a little bit about the process from, I guess, inception of the thought in 2020 to now? You did say March is when you kind of started doing the designs, but the process between idea to officially you having your first 2 products out.
Yeah. Honestly, the delay had a lot to do with fear. It was an industry I had never been in, actually producing and manufacturing clothes, because it's not like I'm buying a shirt and printing on it. Like I'm actually determining what's the measurements, what are the sleeves gonna look like, what material is the shirt made of. So I think I was just afraid because I didn't know anything about that industry. Anyone I knew in fashion was more so like hand sewing their own stuff. So I didn't know if I would be able to even be like in that space, if they would take me seriously. So it was really 4 years of just doubting myself, and then finally saying, let's just do this and hit the ground running. And so March, I was like, let's go for it. Let's create stuff. I'm like, what do I need to do first? Design something. Okay, now I need to find a manufacturer. And I just decided to take it one step at a time, and plenty of obstacles along the way to get there. But yeah, it was literally, it was fear. And when I decided to just go for it, yes, it wasn't overnight, but it was a lot more rapid than 4 years.
Yeah, a lot. And I know when we were speaking, just like at work, obviously, so I know some of the background because I was like witnessing the process of like between meetings, you go and have calls. But what was the process? Because like you said, you're actually manufacturing this stuff. So like of like finding the manufacturers, and then I know you said like the dimensions, but what is that process like?
Yeah. So first, I just sketch things out. If you look online, it's going to tell you all these different things you have to do. I'm just like, I'm going to do what's easier for me. I'm just going to sketch it out and type up as much details as possible.
Yeah.
And then my first attempt was like, let me try a local manufacturer. So I was looking at manufacturers in Houston. I found one that they're really good. They worked in like kind of fitness apparel, and that was their background. So I went to actually go see them. They're in Bel Air, and meet with them. And the meeting went really, really well, but their pricing was ridiculous. So that like completely discouraged me. I think for like 2 days, I didn't even want to think about Venom, work on Venom, anything. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not even gonna be able to. Even if I sell all these, like I have to sell them for $10,000 each to make any money. So,
you know, kind of like what you were like working with, like what was the normal like go rate for the things that you were like looking for? And
yeah,
I feel like
no,
that's
I was not sure at
too.
all. Yeah, fashion manufacturing is very gate kept. No one talks about who their manufacturers are. It's, so eventually I just started researching manufacturers, and I was like, hey, we got to leave the US. So I started talking to China. A lot of my research said China, highest quality, and you're going to get the best bang for your buck versus the other places. So when I moved on to
Okay.
China, oh my God, they were so sweet. They were like the nicest people ever. The quality is amazing on everything they send
I
me. I'm
can
like, oh my
attest.
gosh. Yeah. So I actually love working with
Okay.
China. Like, I don't even know if I would want, I mean, it would be great to go local, but I'm like, they're so sweet. They were so kind to me. They like asked for my Instagram page, like all this stuff. So hopefully I can take a trip down there.
Oh, that's
But
cool.
yeah, so it was just a lot of research. And then Alibaba is actually a huge platform where you could just find a lot of manufacturers. So my first two
Oh,
products,
I
I
heard
actually
of
got the
that.
manufacturers off of Alibaba. And they have verified manufacturers. There's hundreds to choose from. So, but yeah, my clothing manufacturers I want to be a bit more specific about because I really wanted like high quality with the clothes. But yeah, I was just researching and getting different people's quotes and stuff. And when I got the pricing from my current clothing manufacturer, it was 20 times better. So yeah, that's
Okay.
that was that
And
process.
uh, yeah, I would definitely. I guess we've always heard like made in the USA, but I guess you don't realize how expensive it is to get made here.
Yeah.
But once you like got your manufacturers and all that stuff, what was the next step for you? I guess obviously would be the marketing, I guess, or what's the
Next,
next? I've never started a business.
So once I found a manufacturer I wanted to work with, I ordered samples from them. One thing I heard people suggest, since I got lucky and the first manufacturer was like just amazing, some people suggest getting samples from multiple manufacturers. So like find like your top five
Okay.
and order samples from all of them. So samples maybe a bit more expensive. Like I think this t-shirt sample was $60. And they will create whatever you have. So like on the background here, if you can see, these are tech packs. So that's where I pretty much send them all the details. And I never had to do anything beyond my sketch. So I was happy about that because like, I don't know how to generate clothes, but they can take them from my sketch and figure it out. So where was I? Yes. So I ordered a sample, and as they're working on the sample, they ask a lot of questions. So they'll ask for like a size guide. So sometimes if there's a shirt with a similar cut, I'll go find the size guide and send that to them. They'll ask me like different things. Like I'll say, I just want it like, I'll get like a measuring tape and say, I want it to be this long. I want the logo to be this many centimeters. So I just try to give them as many details as possible for them to create something. For this shirt, this is actually the second sample. The first one, the sleeves right here were too tight and the neck was too tight. So we added more spandex, and we still were able to get an even thicker fabric with the spandex. So, and I didn't even know what any of that was when I first started, but now I'm like, okay, this is a 250 GSM fabric, 8% spandex, 92% cotton. But I did not know any of that. That was literally, working with my manufacturers, learning from them. And that's why it's great to have good manufacturers, because they'll actually teach you the process. And so, yeah, once the samples arrive, that's when, you take those samples and you can start to say, I want these little changes to them, etc. And you can order your next sample, or if it's good to go, you can order the bulk.
Was it easier just like building upon, like once you got like an actual shirt, like was it easier? Did you feel more confident? Just like, okay, I'm just making these little tweaks and changes, as opposed to like them taking your drawings and trying to make something come to life from that?
No, absolutely. And when I first got it, like I said, I'm lucky with this manufacturer because everything was pretty much exactly how I imagined it. So yeah, when it came, it was like, I pretty much took pictures and everything, for the next round of changes. And just like, it was like little things like these pants need to be 4 inches longer. This needs to have pockets on the side instead of a full pocket. So yeah, from there, it's just little tweaks and changes. And then once those are nailed down, it's like, all right, we're ready to go. So you can place your bulk order and then move on to marketing.
Would your type of clothing fall under like athleisure?
I would put it under more so streetwear and lifestyle. I don't know if that's a category. Just because I've worked out in it, but it's not made for working out necessarily. But like I wear this sweatsuit, like has like a get back up design on the back. I love wearing that to the gym because I feel like it's very like gym like, and then I'll just take it off before I work out. So it could definitely fall in the athleisure category as well, for sure.
Look at us getting teasers for future stuff, because I didn't know about that. But that is
got to come to the gym at 6.
Like I was supposed to go this morning, and I just was like, you know what, Tara, I'm sorry. It was a morning. But it's funny because like hearing you say tech packs and stuff like that. I used to watch it's not Project One Way, it's the other one.
The streetwear one?
It was on HBO. Yeah, it was on
With
HBO, but I
Quavo.
can't think of what it.
Yeah, I
Not
can't
Quavo. It
remember
was
what it's called.
Offset. What did Offset?
Oh, Offset. I get mixed up.
I was like, unless Quavo is on one, because he might be.
One of the
I forgot what it was.
Migos.
It wasn't like The Street. It was called The Hype. The Hype.
Yeah.
That, and they would
That
talk
show
about
was
TikToks and stuff
really
like that.
good. I need to
Yeah, it
rewatch it
was
actually
that,
now that
and
I'm back in the fashion industry.
the
You know,
fashion,
it's
and
all
also
over
I know
my
you're.
head. I have no idea what y'all are.
I tried to get you to watch that one because it came out when we were living in the house together. But another good one to watch, Cass, was after Heidi Klum and Tim Gunn left Project Runway, they started another one called Making the Cut on Amazon, and it's actually really good too. And they don't just do like formal wear; they do. It's a mix of all kinds of stuff. But that is interesting. The process with manufacturing to get stuff, because again, I've never known anyone that started a fashion brand or anything like that. So to hear that backstory is really interesting.
You do.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
No. Well, so now that you have the product made, you have it all up and running, what has marketing looked like with just trying to get your brand out there? I know like what you currently do now in your job, as well as you kind of TJ too, like you guys are doing like the marketing piece, which is kind of getting things out there. And so what does that look like, as well as in combination with the use of like people and like social media influencers and all that good stuff? What has that process looked like for you?
Yeah, so I do have my background, and like I said, I work professionally right now in marketing. Definitely marketing for this has been a way different realm of marketing. It's been fun for me. The thing I like about marketing is it's pretty much like trying all these things, throwing them at the wall, trying traditional ways of marketing, trying new ways of marketing, and seeing what sticks. But that can obviously become pretty costly. For Venom, we kind of kicked it off. I tried to kick it off with more so influencer marketing. So I was like planning around this full campaign. I got like this suite at a hotel, and I brought in an influencer, and that was kind of the first idea. So that was like throwing a lot of money at something that it wasn't necessary. So after that, I was like, let me just like shoot pictures, like just do a little shoot every week with like different people and just having the products. And that was a lot more effective. And then, so the biggest thing for me for growing Venom has really been ads. So I've really just been putting out, so all the content now that I'm shooting weekly and just getting my friends to be a part of it. I started putting ad money behind, because I'm like, at the end of the day, Instagram is just trying to make money. So if I just pay them money, they're going to so I've grown the platform a lot, and it'll show me who follows me from the ad, and a lot of the followers are coming from those ads, and they're definitely like my target audience. So I get to create the target audience, but then I kind of will stalk who follows me, and I'm like, okay, yeah, these are the exact people that I want on this page. So next time around, definitely a lot less money spent on content and a lot more money spent on ads. So that's the plan.
Okay.
Do you?
And I'm gonna go off. Oh no.
Oh, sorry.
Go. No, go now.
Sorry. Well, I was saying, like, do you have a specific type of person when it comes to like influencers? Do you go for like specific type of influencers when you get more into that? Because like I know you're utilizing friends right now, but are there certain people you want to represent your brand and certain people who you would rather not?
Yeah, so I call them like the Venom girls when I work with them.
Yeah.
And people have asked me like, how do you choose these people? A lot of it right now is literally just based off of their style. Like if I see their style and I'm like, this is like, you would be able to style Venom really well, because right now I don't have stylists and stuff, so they have to style it on their own.
Yeah.
So it's kind of right now a process of trusting, like, okay, if I give you a Venom shirt, you can style it how I like would want it or imagine it styled, and then we can go shoot with it. But in the future, when we do have like stylists and this and that, I definitely see the Venom girl as like just this girl that exemplifies resilience. That's like a huge message in the brand. That's why a lot of the stuff coming out soon says get back up, because it's really just like, if you fall, get back up again. Resilience. The name Venom kind of comes from the Marvel universe, and it's just because the Marvel universe has these superheroes, and it's powerful, and it's really cool, and that's how I want people to feel when they wear Venom. So so hopefully eventually I tell people I don't want to necessarily have to use influencers. I want to be Venom to be the influencer, and to start to put these girls like out there and really push them. So
Okay, so one last question. I'm sorry, TJ, because I know you had a question too. But
No,
this
you're
is
good.
like perfect timing. I don't know if you guys saw the movie Blink Twice. Did y'all see that?
Yes, I did.
I heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Okay, so not to give too much away. I mean, actually, this is going to give it away, but like Venom
she ain't gonna see it.
was the key to like group the girls together and like band together. And so the fact that that's the message behind your brand is
I didn't even catch that.
Maybe I do need to watch it.
Yeah, you need to go see it. I didn't even catch that of like in the putting that together. But yeah, it is that doesn't give too much of it away because you don't know what is going on previously. But yeah, Snake Venom is the thing. Oh yeah, you should totally go watch it. It's Zoe Kravitz. It's her directorial debut.
And whole mental health. I loved Blink Twice, but
yeah, it was really good.
Yeah,
it was really
good. Perfect. Like it really is on par with what it is.
So maybe you need to go. Yeah, just for market research purposes, you should go.
I'll just be up, like watching like this.
It's not scary. It's not scary. It's I don't want to say psychological
like a thriller,
but
it's it's scary because it's realistic.
Well, it gives me nightmares.
Yeah. No. Oh. Well, it didn't for me, but then again, at the same time, I'm used to crazy movies like that.
It's scary
but
because
it was
real,
really good.
But it's not like
maybe I'll just watch the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like it's like ghosts or anything like that. It's just it's triggering more than it is scary. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, you at your own discretion. Maybe wait till it comes out on some streaming, but you could still go see it on $5 Tuesdays like I do. But the question that I had when you were talking about social media and ads, and I think it's a good tie-in because our last episode was on social media. See how I planned that? Oh, is this a homeless man? Sorry. Is what you're saying you're using ads and stuff like that. What have you found to be the most successful with the different platforms? Is Instagram more ad heavy now? Do you pay for ads on TikTok? And I know you've always been a big YouTuber, which is something that we haven't tapped into just yet. But what have you? I guess are there best practices that you have for the different platforms since that's kind of been your main avenue of promotion of the brand?
Yeah, and I think I just backtracking a little bit, I forgot to mention I did promote on YouTube by doing a vlog series of the process of creating and releasing the products.
Oh,
so
I do remember that
in my advertising as well. But yeah, so social media platforms, I love YouTube, I love TikTok, just any video content platform, because that's obviously what I was doing for a long time. Instagram is kind of where everyone is. So that's a nice platform. I'm like, Pinterest is a great platform. It's so easy to spread yourself thin on platforms. And I was kind of doing that at first. Like I was posting on Venom, had a YouTube page I was posting on so many platforms that I was looking at this brand called Voight. And she's actually, she has a short clip on Complex that's really inspiring if you want to start a clothing brand. But her brand, she might just literally focuses on Instagram. Like you can tell she tapped into TikTok for a little bit, YouTube for a little bit, but she just solely focused it on Instagram, and she pretty much sells out like every collection. So I realized if I just pick a platform and just like become the best at that platform, learn that algorithm, get it down packed, then it's best to just grow on one platform for now, and then that success will trickle down to the other platforms. YouTube is one that I'm always on. I just utilize my personal brand with YouTube to kind of promote the business, because I feel like there's no such thing as a big YouTuber who's not big on everything else. So, but yeah, I'm not really worried about the other social medias right now. Primarily for Venom, it's Instagram. So I'm just focused on growing Venom's Instagram. And people can also shop directly from the Instagram page now, so I figured out how to set that up. I got the ads down packed, so I'm like, right now I'm focused on the Instagram for Venom, and then for my personal brand, I'm focused on the YouTube more so. So that's kind of how I narrowed those down.
Yeah,
I've kind of
that makes sense. I'm over here like taking mental notes too, like okay, so focus on one.
Yeah, because when you think about it, it's kind of like being the jack of all trades. Like you're like mediocre at everything instead of just kind of focusing all in one, and then it's going to trickle out on its own. And so that makes sense.
Yeah, until I have a team. And then
one other thing, until you have a team, there you go, hire me. What was I going to say? And this is something now that you brought up actually was the in-person like promotional events. Have you attended any of those? And I asked that because I know when we were first starting the podcast, someone who was in the art space was always talking about these like creator events and stuff like that. And like, you should come and promote. And I'm like, Natalie knows, like, I'm like super shy, so I'm like, I'm not going to talk about these things in person. So is that something? And I guess I might have just answered the question for you, but is that something that you do?
It is not. Coming into building this brand, I realized like it's okay to not do the things that I don't want to do because there's successful brands out there that don't go to in-person events. But I finished my book launch about launching a clothing brand. My new book has arrived, so I'm curious. This book's called Ego is the Enemy, and so I'm curious if it's going to tell me to move my ego out the way and go network with people. But yeah, right now I'm just like, I'm in e-commerce, I'm on social media, but I do know, like, when I do interact with people in person and talk about the brand, or even the girl who asked me yesterday, it's definitely a lot more of a personal touch to it, and they're excited. Like, people have asked me to hand deliver the Venom to them instead of shipping it to them, just because, even though they have to wait a little longer. So it is something there about that personal touch, so we'll see if the book is able to convince me to break out of my shell. But I feel like if it's something you love, it's easy to talk about. So
yeah.
Right.
So, okay, now I got another question off of that, though, too. Because I feel like so often when you are trying to, like, spread awareness of something, that you can dip into the morality issue of doing things that don't necessarily align with who you are because you're just trying to get that, like, brand out there.
Capitalism.
So it sounds like for you, you're willing to sacrifice, like, okay, maybe I won't reach this amount of people, but I'm still sticking to who I am. And obviously you're about to read that book, but it doesn't sound like it's more of a, I'm going to do something that's completely not me, but just maybe kind of step out of my comfort zone with it a little bit. But has that ever been an issue with you of, like, doing something that morally just does not align with who you are for the sake of just getting your brand out there?
I think so. In the past, there's definitely been these moments, and I'll take a lot of, like, social media breaks when I fall into this, but I will see content online and just be like, I just need to do that. I just need to do this trending content, yada, yada, yada. Like, I just need to do whatever's going to get me quick views and get people to buy my stuff. But I realize I'm in it for the long run. And at the end of the day, if I can just build these loyal followers who feel like they know Venom and they're here along the journey, it's going to take a little bit longer, but at least at the end of the day, like, I don't have to follow trends. I can set the trends when it comes to that. So, and then with Venom, I actually will just think of the fact that, like, Venom, right now we're on, like, a break in the store while I'm working on the next collection. But in the meantime, I was like, I want to get people out voting. And I'm like, so I started this campaign called Cool Girls Vote. It's probably going to come out like today or tomorrow. And Venom is sponsoring a local voting registration and education event. So that's going to be in person. We're going to give away some of the Venom items at that event. So I guess in that case, yes, I'm in person talking about it. I didn't really think of it like that. But yeah, it's very important that Venom not only is the clothes they get back up, but we're actually making an impact. So we were originally supposed to release when Hurricane Barrel hit. So I had to push back that release, but we were able to donate like over 30% of what we made from our collection to the Greater Houston Relief Fund for Hurricane Barrel. So when I look at it from that aspect, I'm like, I definitely love to be in the weeds. Like right now I'm looking for like a Girl Scout troop that I can give Venom bags to. They can like fill it up with back to school supplies. Like I love doing that kind of stuff. So, and that's why I call Venom a lifestyle brand. Yeah. But yeah, so that's why I call Venom a lifestyle brand, because I think it's more than just the clothes. It's really the story behind the clothes and who's wearing the clothes and what they're doing when they have them on.
I love that.
Yeah, that's good. And I think that's a great place for a nice little break. But y'all don't go anywhere. We will be right back. So Cass, take a dive just a little bit deeper into the lovely brand that is Venom. So stick around.
We are back, and as stated before, we have the lovely Cass with us sharing all her insight and glory into her lovely brand, Venom. And so question I have for you guys, well, more so Cass, obviously, with this whole self-reflection idea that we have going on. Cassidy, if you could tell your younger self, anything about just kind of like the direction you've taken with like your brand and just like business and all, is there anything that you would tell your younger self that maybe you were not aware of until like you've gotten into it now?
Oh yeah. I think the biggest thing top of mind that I have been telling people recently is progress over perfection.
Yeah.
Just make some kind of progress. You're gonna learn along the way. Because I think a lot of the times what will stop me is like, I want this to be perfect. I want this film to be perfect. I want this item to be perfect. And even with creating Venom, like when there were so many little things that I could change about the totem, like what if I did custom zipper on the inside or this and that? I'm like, just let this one go. And on the next one, we'll think about something like that. So definitely just, it doesn't have to be perfect, little Cassidy. It just has to be out there. Just put it out there. So yeah,
I
that's
love
what I
that. I feel like I tell myself as well as my clients, like movement. As long as there's movement, we're going in a good direction. Like just don't be stagnant. And so I like that. And I think a lot of people need to apply like progress over perfection, because what is perfection? But what would you say, like now that you are in it, what would you say is like the biggest misconception of starting a business and starting a brand?
Biggest misconception, I think a lot of people go into it thinking they need to know so much. They need to already have a background in the industry. They need a full business plan, this and that. I think you just need your idea. I just say I'm a big promoter of just like go for it. Like you want to design a shirt, sit there, draw the shirt, find like get it done, and then figure it out. Like do the business plan later on. And that's pretty much the course I've taken. I didn't do any business planning. First thing I did was sit there and design a logo, which I know is like don't do like business, don't do 101. But I'm like I'm a visual person, so I'm gonna sit there, design the logo, sketch the clothes first, get them made, see if I could even sell an item, and figure out the marketing. And then I'll probably go in and do more. Okay, who's my competition? What are my goals for the future? My financial projections,
SWOT analysis and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But if you try to do all that in the beginning, it's so discouraging. Like you're like, oh my god, this is way too big. Like I'm going to be doing this in 5 years. So I just say just try it out, go through the full process, and
like you said earlier, your confidence started to build, and like as your knowledge increased, and you're like, okay, I got this, and it just builds upon one another. And so
exactly.
Was that kind of going back to what you said earlier, like your fears kind of influenced the delay? Were your fears centered around that more so, or was it just kind of you looking at other brands out there? I think you kind of answered that earlier though too.
The biggest, I think, as far as fears, the biggest thing was I felt like I didn't have the knowledge to be in the fashion industry. I was like, I was in school for film. I do music. Like, people know that. I'm like, if I do fashion, people are going to be like, what does she know about fashion? So yeah, that was, I think, the biggest fear was people are just going to think she's bouncing around doing all this stuff. She doesn't know anything about any, like pretty much what you said about the jack of all trades thing. So that's definitely what stopped me.
Gotcha.
I can definitely see that, because you have that. It's like this is so random to bring this up, but the whole, I don't know if y'all have seen all the discourse around it. We love bringing in a random movie reference. Apparently, the discourse around It Ends With Us movie and Blake Lively, and like why it seems like people are turning on her during this thing because I was like, what was that sound? Like she during the film, which if you haven't seen it, I actually did go see it. I went and saw it with Paris on Monday. The character owns a flower shop, and then around the same time the movie was coming out, Blake Lively, I don't know if it was a clothing line, it was some kind of brand, but it was like maybe it's hair care, and it had blooms in it. Like she was trying to tie all of this stuff in with the movie promotion, and it was like she was just oversaturating it, and everybody's kind of like, just what are you doing? And so when the stuff came out about like the issues with the director, everyone kind of, I don't want to say turned on her, but kind of like turned away from it, because it was like, you're trying to do too much, and then now this is happening. It's like, And so I could see the reservation of like you jumping in all these different fields, and then it being like, well, what does she actually know about this stuff? But I will say, as in knowing you for the past 3 years, you seem to be good at all the things you're doing it. So at least in some way aligned with you as a person, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Instead of you just being like, yes, so today I'm doing Venom, but tomorrow's whiskey. It's like, do you drink? Like, you know, like there's at least some kind of synergies within the things. Yeah, right. There's synergy in the things that you're doing, so it makes sense. And so again, going back to, you know, being true to yourself, I think that definitely helps the different sectors be more palpable.
Yeah. If you're passionate about it, you will have the drive that you need to go for it. Because, like I mentioned, real estate's on the side kind of thing, and I don't really talk about it much, but love doing real estate and interior design and all of that stuff. And hospitality, I learned I love that as well. So, yeah, just if you're passionate about it, go for it.
There you go. You won't know until you know. But taking a page out of Natalie's book, because we do talk all things self-care and mental health on here. Going back, I guess it was a good segue with you having your hands in so many different things. How has your personal life been affected by all of the side hustles that have come into your life and it seems like relatively recently. Like I know the Venom was recently, and then the house was kind of at the beginning of this year. And then, So how has your personal life been affected and your work-life balance?
So rewinding a little bit, this was pretty much like my schedule in college was ridiculous. I was working at the Apple Store as a creative pro. I was taking classes. I was like the chair for all these organizations, and I was filming an 8-episode web series. So that was life previously that I was used to. And then pandemic was like, shut it all down. So that was kind of like my break. And then I've slowly started to get back into it. But yeah, after college, I actually experienced a lot of, I don't know if it was necessarily post-grad depression, but I was just like, I felt I hated it after college. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like I just felt like I had nothing really going on anymore. Like I'm back in Houston. At the time I was teaching, so I was like, I'm not necessarily in the industry that I thought I was going to be in at first. So that was the first struggle I really had to overcome. For me, once the pandemic hit, it kind of put everyone in that position. So, even though it was a horrible, thing that people had to go through, it did help a little bit for me on the post-grad depression side. Cause I'm like, okay, everyone's back home now figuring it out. So I was able to kind of take that time to, like I said, think of things like Venom and kind of bring these ideas to life. But I had this weird fear that I guess was just like an adulting fear. Of like, I need to focus on one job, one thing. Like I can't do all those things like I used to do in college. And so this year was when I pretty much bought the house. That was me saying, forget it. Like I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. So yeah, it was about buying the house was like the first big thing. And then, starting Venom, and then, putting the house on Airbnb. Like I was just like, I was doing it all. So afraid, so worried, but I was just like, I'm going to do it and figure it out as it goes.
Planning trips for everybody.
Yeah, and it's been great because, like I said, those are the things I'm passionate about. Back up a little bit, there were things that when I was getting really busy that I was not passionate about. I was like social media chair for all these organizations and working on comms for all these different groups, and that I wasn't as passionate about because I was pretty much on call for when they needed me. And so that's when I was like, I was completely overwhelmed. Like I was starting to have like some panic attacks. Every once in just randomly that would just come, if I felt like my plate all of a sudden got too full. So in that moment, I was like, I'm just cutting down on things. So I literally just like, I don't consider myself a quitter, but I literally had to like talk to people and say, I'm sorry, I can't do this role that I said I could do.
I remember
so that was
those
kind of tough for me because yeah. I was like, that was tough because and that's actually when I got into therapy too. So she was like, yeah, your plate is full. She's like, maybe people can carry more than you can, but your plate is full. Okay. So I had to kind of start to say no, which was hard for me in that respect, but I'm glad I did because I was able to pretty much cut everything down and start from scratch to where I am now. Now there's a lot of stuff going on, but like I said, I'm passionate about a lot of it. Time management has been like my best friend. And before with all those things, I didn't really have like a social life. Like I never put social life in there. I was like, I don't really have time for like a friend group or anything. But within the recent
building
years,
an empire.
you know what? I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm not taking any of this with me when I go. So I was like, let me make sure there's also people around me, like, and you know, people like to spend my time with, and I have no regrets. Like I genuinely love like having a social life, having a friend group. They're very supportive of my brand and everything I'm working on as well. Still, that's been amazing. everything. And yeah, it's just been balanced. And I realized, plus my friends like to go out like on the weekends at night, and I'm not working at that time anywhere, so I can still get
Yes, they
everything.
do like to go out at night on weekends and during the week.
Yeah. They don't go out at 11 p.m. Oh yeah, I'm definitely not working at 11 p.m.
Oh my
so.
god! Yes, they will do that, and it's so. So you mentioned something about teaching, and I was supposed to mention this at the beginning of the episode about how we know you. It's funny because before we knew you, Natalie, who is the TikTok extraordinaire of this duo that we have, we were living in the house, and she showed me this video because I think at the time Natalie was taking the courses to become a teacher, and she was on TikTok and saw this video of this girl talking about how to get paid this much if you're a teacher, and we were all. She was like, "So I'm gonna do all this and blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Oh, that's really cool." Fast forward to about a good 3 or 4 months, I'm at work, and said girl from the video pops up in our lobby, and I'm like, "She looks really familiar, but I don't know why. I don't think I've ever met you." And me, at the time when I was sitting in the lobby, like without any new employees that would come work for our team, I would stalk them on LinkedIn because I'm like, "Who is this person?" But then whenever like getting to know you, and she talked about teaching, and I think maybe you mentioned your TikTok and all this stuff like this, and then I was like, wait a minute, Natalie, find that video. And surely enough, it was Cassidy. And I'm like, what are the odds? So yes, I guess that's my original introduction into her.
What is it called? Like an invisible string theory? I think that's what it's called. It's
that
like
everyone's connected in some kind of way.
But then, like later on,
no, it's crazy.
So yeah, that was an interesting. So that's hilarious to me that like how small the world is. But yes, in regards to the work-life balance, I can attest to that also because I am. Well, I don't want to say we're similar because you be doing a lot, but I will take on a lot of stuff and then just like suffer the consequences later. But definitely learning the balance of when to be like, all right, I gotta step away from this is always a good thing to have. And how you mentioned about professional and then friends. Has your family life suffered any or gotten better since with all the stuff that you've taken on?
No,
even
not
your
necessarily.
family's just as busy as you.
Yeah, like all my siblings are out of state in school, so when they do come to town, I pretty much like block out my calendar just to spend time with them. So I definitely like prioritize them, and then I'm staying at home right now with the Airbnb and just to fund my business. So I see my parents way too much.
You're like, I wish.
So yeah, no, it's I definitely family is like super important to me. So I always will like if my sister wants to talk, it doesn't matter what I'm working on. I'm shutting it down and I'm talking to my sister. So yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I haven't heard that.
That's good. And then I have one final question that we will use to wrap this up. And as I'm looking at the question, I realized that there needs to be a preliminary question first. Is what we've talked about the brand like crazy. Currently, what are the product offerings? And I know you said that you're on break right now, getting ready for the next collection, but what have you put out so far? Because we've never actually said the items that you have up.
So the first launch was a mini tote. I feel like I should go get it. I'll be right back.
I see it
It's right behind me. Yeah, I have all my samples. So these are the OG samples down here, and then these are the latest version. So this is the miniature tote, which was inspired by the Trader Joe's mini tote that was going viral. And I know I just like a plain black tote, but on the inside, it actually has organization and pockets in here. So
I'm gonna need a tote. Yep, I'm gonna go ahead and buy I love that could be functional. Like, yes.
She loves functionality.
So yeah, that was the initial release. And I'm glad I did a tote because with clothes, there's a lot to deal with, like with returns and sizing and stuff. And then I released a surprise product. This was literally like me just risking it all. I had a vision. I was like, what if on my birthday, I released these Venom sunglasses as a surprise and had a pair for everyone at the party. So yeah, luckily they came in time to get everything done.
I wear them quite often.
But yeah, this is probably one of the top products, which I can see because it kind of goes with everything. But it's pretty much like a mirrored frame, sunglasses. We have the Venom icon mold, and people actually love the box more than they love the glasses.
The box is really nice. So I use it for other stuff now.
Exactly. And that's a big thing with when I was first researching starting the brand, I really wanted it to be sustainable. And that's another thing that can be overwhelming, is finding like it's so hard for a brand to be sustainable. But I did learn, if you're a small brand, you're already sustainable because you're not producing these crazy quantities. And packaging.
True.
So with the packaging, like the packaging for the tote bags, it's 100% recyclable packaging. And then this is obviously very reusable packaging.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my contribution for now to sustainability, until I'm producing so many masses that I really need to look into that. But yeah, those were the first 2 products. And yeah, they're off the store now. The totes, I don't know if the totes are ever returning, but I can hook you up, Natalie. So I'll send you on the side. The sunglasses, I think sunglasses should be making a return, along with this will be our first clothing product, the baby doll tee. But it's the baby doll tee that's not cropped. That was a big thing for me, because I'm like, I'll be able to wear it to work and here and there. So, but I love the cut of the baby doll. So, so those are the next products coming in.
Okay. That was my next question. What is
very near future?
What is the future? Because I don't know if you said this on air, if this was when we were talking before, but obviously you are primarily focusing on women's apparel. Obviously the glasses and tote are kind of unisex, but is the future staying that way? Do you see yourself shifting, or what are your thoughts there?
For now, it's staying targeted toward women. Like I said, a lot of the pieces can be unisex that are coming out in the future. Even though the tee will be like the first clothing launch, there is a sweatsuit that's being worked on. Should have prepared to do my
We're getting exclusives, everyone.
So sweatsuit wise, this was kind of the first rendition. It's pretty much like your basic hoodie. But I was like, I really want a cropped hoodie.
I love the font.
This one has the better. So that's the get back up, and then it says try again. So this is just for if someone's behind you and they just need that extra encouragement, has the Venom embroidery. This one I'm actually thinking of switching into a zip up. So we'll see. And
I would second that. I like that.
And then moving this over. Especially because if people wear like the shirt with it, then they can kind of peek that out.
Right, you can see it.
And then, so then they're going to come with these pants, so sweatpants, but they're straight leg at the bottom. I just want them to be a lot longer. And then these also have the symbol on the side with the side pockets, so that'll kind of match and help with the zip up. And these are a bit more high-waisted as well, so that's why I wanted the hoodie. The hoodie stops where these pretty much start, so.
Yep, I'm gonna.
Nice. Okay, look at you.
So the goal, I guess I'll try to speak it into existence, but the goal is for these 2 items to be released in October, the sweatsuit to come out before Christmas, and then, the next collection that will be really cool that I'm working on is...
There you go, and we are excited to champion that. The loveliness that is Venom. But Natalie, do you have any more questions before we kind of start the closeout process, or Cassidy, do you have anything else that maybe we didn't cover that you want to make sure that gets out there for the brand?
I do just want to talk about funding.
Go.
Because that's a big thing. Because I know I kind of touched on the pricing and the cost of manufacturing. I did self-fund this brand. Stock can be expensive, and marketing can be expensive. If I have to give any advice from what I know now, save that money for quality stock and marketing, because that's going to be the biggest impact. So I did self-fund. There are a ton of funding and grant opportunities in fashion. It's just a lot of the ones I found, you had to be running your business for 3 years, or you had to have an employee. But definitely, if you are thinking of going into fashion, you have to save the money and have the money ready, because you're going to be paying a lot for your full stock. Because I think shirts, like, you can get a minimum of like 50. Some people have minimums of like 100, 200. So you're going to be paying a lot to get your initial stock. Yeah. So definitely make sure the samples are good. Samples are worth paying for, so that your overall stock is not as good.
It's good.
Yeah.
Okay, that is good. Any other gems you want to drop that we might have forgotten to? Because I'm sure there is so much that, and obviously when you're here, you're like thinking about all this stuff, and so it's easy to forget. But is there anything that popped up in your mind that you're like, oh yeah, before we go on to our last little segment here?
I feel like we covered everything.
No? Okay.
This is so informative for me.
Same.
I feel like the cast, because we've only had 2 this season interviews. Well, aside from my mom, but like Brooks was like real estate, and the new cast was just like starting a brand. Like I am completely unaware. Like I know of things, but I'm not in it, and so it's so informative for me because now I'm like, okay, I know what I'm talking about if I need to bring up this a little bit in conversation, and so we appreciate you for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I've been wanting to get you on here for forever and not necessarily talk about this, but talk about social media because that's how I know you as the production side. But then when the business came up, I was like, oh, this works perfectly. So yes, thank you so much for your time. But again, before we leave out of here, as we do with every guest on the show, did we do this with your mom? We did. We did this with your mom.
Yes,
We play a little game called The Big Three. And yes, it is inspired by Beyonce's Big Three from her Renaissance tour, because that's just who I am. So we have 7 lovely categories that we talk about on this show. And so we have asked you to choose 3 of those. And we've got pre-written questions for all of our categories. So we don't know what you're going to choose. You don't know what the questions are. But the thing is, once you choose one, you have to answer that question in 3 words or 1 sentence, because sometimes they are harder. The 3 words do not have to be a 3-word sentence. They could be 3 individual words, or they could be a 3-word sentence. Because I think, Natalie, your mom literally answered it in 3-word sentences each time, like almost unintentionally. But just as a reminder for you and our listeners, our categories are family, friends, self-care, hustling, culture, adulting, and love. And so you were going to choose 3 of those. What is your first one, Miss Cass?
Let's go with friends.
Oh, perfect. So that is
not me.
I wanted to tie it into kind of like the theme or the topic of today. And so my question under the friends category would be, as like a woman who wears so many hats and plays so many roles and in so many different areas of her life, what are the top 3 qualities that you need in your social support when it comes to friends?
Supportive.
Okay.
Ooh, what's the words at the tip of my tongue? Spontaneous.
Here goes alliteration. Now she's gonna try and think of another S.
Supportive, spontaneous. Dang, I wasn't even doing that, and now I am. And I can't.
Sorry.
Supportive, spontaneous, and supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I would say caring.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right, next category. What do you got?
Hustlin.
Oh, that's me. And I'm gonna have to shift this one a little bit because you answered the actual question that I had. Actually, no. So if you were not doing what you're doing now professionally, not your side hustle, what would you be doing? And this could be a 1-sentencer. That way you can give a little context.
Cooking food from my own garden.
So you could have gone on a contract?
Nara Smith has inspired me.
Oh,
I'm like, if outside of all of this, I would be growing food and cooking it and being creative with cooking.
Okay, that is interesting. I've never seen you cook, so I'm so interested to see how that will play out. But okay, last category, my friend. Just know the one you're laughing at is not mine, so you wouldn't have to worry about it.
Please ask it.
Let's just go with love. Why not?
Told you it wasn't mine. I knew. I was like, you ain't got to worry about me because I would have did it.
So, okay, now based off y'all's reactions, I might change it around a little bit.
Oh my God.
Because it was going to be really simple. But so
Where's this being posted again?
I'll let you know at the end of this.
So I'll ask my initial question, just because, again, kind of going with the roles that you play in life and kind of the same with friends. Describe your love life based off of where you're at now, just with everything going on. Because you mentioned earlier, like at one point, your social life took a backseat because you weren't focused on that. And so currently, where are you at if you were to describe your love life?
Yeah, okay.
Non-existent. Oh wait, I can only use a sentence, right? Okay.
Sentence or
Yeah,
two
you can
words?
sentence.
3 words. Or 3 words. I think a sentence would be easier. On the same. Let me think.
Let me think.
Okay. On the same thing with like family and friends, but pretty much I make time for the people that I care about, regardless.
That's good. That's very politically correct. Your mother would be proud. Oh, that is hilarious, but also a good answer because that is very effective. But with that, we wrap up the lovely big 3. Again, thank you, Cassidy, for coming on. We end our show, almost every show. We used to do another kind of segmentish thing, but we've kind of stuck with this one, but with a mental health moment. And so we will give you the opportunity, if you have anything either related to the topic that we spoke about or just anything in general that you feel like you would like to impart wisdom on our listeners of just something mental health related. If you don't, we can totally step in and say something because we always going through something around here. But yeah, we'll turn the floor over to you.
Yeah.
If you have anything.
I would say the biggest thing, I know we've been talking about progress and working and, fighting fear, but rest is just as important as all of those things. Like I said,
Preach
after
it from the bleachers, girl.
After I met with my first manufacturer and they told me those crazy prices, I was like, we're just gonna take a week and not act like Venom doesn't exist, and then we'll come back when it's refreshed. But rest is just, it's so important. And like, even me hanging out with my friends, I consider like a moment of rest from the brand and the business. And when the book I just finished, a big thing he mentioned is the point of entrepreneurship is not to be working 24/7, especially like in the beginning maybe, but the point is to have freedom, to be able to have that freedom to rest and to maybe work 4 days a week and to spend time with your family and friends. So that's a big thing that I've been just focus on, is making sure that I'm taking the time to rest. Like I said, I close the shop for now until the next product comes out, just so I have that ability to just take my time and not have to worry about being stressed.
Yes, agreed. I think we both can agree on that one, that we've both been through those situations. But again, thank you, Cassidy. Please leave all of our listeners with all of your social medias, the tags for everything, where they can find you as well as the brand, so they can go flood the store whenever it opens back up and just follow you to be prepared. So drop all your links and stuffs.
Cool. So our Instagram page is at Shop Venom with 2 M's. And then the actual web store is shopvenom1m.store. And then my personal pages are Work That Cast, pretty much on everything. So if you want to follow me, feel free. And
yes, please do go follow her. And soon she'll be opening a gym, because we already said Work That Cast was going to be the workout program too.
I forgot about that one. I wrote that down.
Right? Yeah, you write that down. That's your next hat to wear. But with that, we will be getting out of here. Be sure to follow us on social medias at Crazy Little Pod on Instagram and the TikToks, and maybe YouTube coming soon once I can convince Cassidy to teach me some things. If you have any questions for Natalie or myself, you can send those to askcrazylittlepod@gmail.com. We may just read it aloud on the show. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a review, rate the show. We love getting the feedback. But other than that, we will see you lovely people in 2 weeks, where we continue this crazy train down to who knows where. But thank y'all for listening, and we will see y'all next time.